Loic Ekinga, a Congolese writer, and Kambale Musavuli, policy analyst at the Center for Research on the Congo-Kinshasa. Both join me now. Those are heartbreaking revelations, but again, it touches the mind of every human. Now let's look at the visiting Pope. Is expected to calm frayed nerves and help in the peace-building process in DRC and South Sudan. Let's start with you, Loic. What is your assessment, perhaps, of the visit of Pope Francis?
Thank you so much. I think the most important thing to take from this so far is what Congolese people need right now is hope. And I feel so far that's what a lot of them have gotten. I mean, for a country where 50% of the population identify as Catholics, to have the leader of the church to come the capital in such you can see by the type of welcome that he got, and for him to go as far as speaking to victims of sexual assault and other forms of assault and violence in the eastern part of the country. I would say this is the right way to do it, to go on the ground and speak to these people so they can, tap into this hope that is much needed in the DRC.
Now, Ekinga, the battle has continued in as much as we've seen the condemnation between government forces and militias in the mineral-rich eastern DRC, where other foreign players are at work. Let's speak of hopes in the wake of what we're seeing. Do you think there are hopes that the path to peace is in sight, specifically with the amount of condemnation and the Pope's visit?
Well, we can only hope. I feel like outside of nationalism and and all these things, I feel that at its core, religion and Catholicism is about love. And with the message of the Pope and him being there, we can only hope that the parties involved in these acts of violence can heed to what he's saying and trying to come from a place of love and probably tap into the humanity for the sake of the people. Because, like you said, there are so many accusations about Western involvement in what's happening in the eastern part of the Congo. And for the Pope to speak, for instance, today he spoke about economic colonialism, and we talked about the importance of letting Africa breathe, not to choke them with trying to take away minerals and resources. This is a message to countries that we all know are benefiting from minerals and all these things, and some of them do through wars. And I think then it's important that this message is heeded too, and hopefully people here will make take the steps for peace and for restoration.
Let's see if we have better connection now. Going back to Musavuli, speak to us about the Institute, your Center for Research on the Congo-Kinshasa. Help us, what are you working on at the moment, specifically on account of what we've just witnessed? If you will, share.
With our Atlanta Declaration of 2018, we've been committed for justice in DRC. We say that there is no path to peace in DRC unless there is justice. If you look at the path that the DRC has taken for the past 2 decades, we've had many peace negotiations. We have had many peace talks. We have had reforms for the Congolese military and other suggestions, mainly from the international community, of what the Congolese people should do. But what we see is that the violence hasn't ended, the conflict hasn't ended. Our Nobel Peace Prize, Dr. Mukwege, the leader of the Panzi Hospital, the Congolese doctor, when he won the Nobel Peace Prize, he had a fantastic speech where he reminded the people around the world that even though he's receiving a Nobel Peace Prize for the work that he's doing, peace is elusive because there is a culture of impunity in what's happening in the Congo. Those who are committing the crimes know that there won't be any accountability. So if we are all serious around the world, specifically the international community, for peace and stability in the DRC, unless we hold the perpetrator of violence accountable, peace will always be elusive. And that's what we are pushing for the Center for Research on the Congo, to make sure that the recommendation of the UN mapping exercise report published on October 1st, 2010, calling for an international tribunal for Congo. We are calling for that to be implemented. And we believe that if that's implemented, you bring about peace and stability in the DRC.
Let me stay with you before I go back to Loic quickly here. In what ways do you think this visit will impact the larger African continent, and how best can the Catholic Church play any role in promoting peace and stability in Africa?
Yeah. So let's not look at the visit of the Pope just as the Catholic Church, right? We have to think that the reason why the Pope is there is because the Congolese people who are Catholic have mobilized the church for them to pay attention about the Congo. You have to also remember the past regime of Kabila, religious leaders actually came together. The Catholic Church and other religious groups came together in a coalition to demand for a free and fair election. So there were many Congolese have died. I'll bring up the name of Loic Ekinga. He was a young Congolese who was mobilizing and organizing within the church. He was actually killed and shot within a Catholic church in Kinshasa while he was mobilizing and getting ready to move with the people within the church for a peaceful protest. So we know the role of the members of the church have been critical for this visit. Now, having him show up in Congo does send a signal to those who are paying attention about policies that the Catholic Church is taking a stand for peace and stability. But it is, in the final analysis, it's really the people of the Congo, the religious people of the Congo, the Catholic members of the Catholic Church in the DRC who are continuing to mobilize. After the visit of the Pope, they will continue the lobby to call for justice. And we saw that with the witnesses. The witnesses are the victims of the war. The victims of the war are themselves sharing what happened to them, and they have not stopped sharing the reality of what they face. And their hope is for justice, and we should support the processes they are pushing for.
Okay, let's close with Loic. Quickly here, they're still very much alive, and the best way to give justice is for the continent and the world to do this before these people leave the stage. What do you think the continent can do, speaking of the AU?
I think it's about time we work on policies and be serious about it. The entire continent needs to agree on policies for peacekeeping across borders, across every country and every member of the AU. I feel so much of what we're trying to do as a continent, as you know, and as an ensemble of country, has been looked down upon from the inside, of course, and I feel from the international community as well. And I feel like we need to take a stand and to speak for ourselves, because it's important for us to take the right steps and, of course, like I said, come up with policies that will help speak and promote peace in the continent.
Loic Ekinga, Kambale, Musavuli, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.